what would the average life expectancy, I think, was like around 65, was kind of like the average life expectancy in the 50s.
Yep.
Now it's 75. And we're hearing all kinds of crazy numbers like, hey, hang around for another 5 years and the average life expectancy is going to be around 100. But what does that mean for senior care then? I mean, that just means that they need extended options. It increases the need for senior living.
Yeah, like you said, it really breaks it down to offering almost an all-inclusive resort amenities. It's like living at a resort.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Real Estate Roundtable with MRTG Capital. My name's Tom Goodge, and as always, I'm here with my friend and business partner, Mr. Mike Rohm. How's it going, brother?
Doing fantastic. How about you?
Man, I'm doing great. Missing you once again. I know that we have to film podcasts like this, but at the end of the day, I get to see you face to face instead of looking over, so we'll take it.
Exactly.
Well, good deal, brother. I know that, man, we have been all over the place. I mean, we just got back from Vegas. We got back from Anaheim, California, meeting with investors all over the world, shaking hands with some famous people, which was pretty cool. I mean, we've been busy. We've started a new business together, right? We started a golf simulator business called 19th Green together that we used the profits from a multifamily real estate venture to be able to reinvest into that. And we're going to get another big deal under contract here next week. I mean, we got a lot going on, man. It's been busy.
Absolutely. That's why we got to film apart, because we're running everywhere. We just got to take the time that we can. But yeah, it's all part of the journey and all fun.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, we had a blast. I mean, it's crazy, like to think of all of the different people. I mean, we were talking with people from London. We're talking with, people from all around the United States, and then, I mean, just all around the world. I mean, there were so many other people that we're talking with from different backgrounds, different businesses, different real estate ventures. I mean,
Right.
breaking bread with people from just different walks, and all of it has been always fantastic. We make new connections, new bank connections, new connections into senior living that we're getting interested into, all kinds of stuff, dude.
Absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, people from different countries, a lot from Australia and London and everywhere else.
I mean,
Yeah, but it's great to be able to network with these folks and get ideas. There's things that I mean, as you know, there's different waves and trends and things that happen in other countries before they do here in the US. So it's great to be talking to these people and not just watching like a TikTok of what they're doing over there. These are people that are intimate in the business world that we're getting on the forefront to know what's working over there, what ideas do they have, and then, can implement here, but it really got our gears turning on things that are working in other countries as well.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there's just so much.
Mhm.
And then outside of that, I mean, I know we've been inspired by our good friend and mentor, Mr. Vinny Chopra, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Smiles, right? Mr. Over $1 billion of assets under management. He has us looking at senior living now, which is not new to us as it relates to, we've always wanted to get into personal care homes, assisted living.
Right.
It's fun now that we're actually rolling up the sleeves and starting to look into really what that means and the crazy numbers that are out there as it relates to what it means from an investor perspective.
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest thing is the unknown. That's the scary part. Whenever you start really diving in and being an expert in something, those fears go away, and you become just the knowledge. You learn what it's all about. You learn the ins and outs, and just become an expert. That it's like, all right, your fears go away because you're educated on it. So that was the biggest thing. That it was like, oh, it's there's too much information, this, that, and that's what scares people away. I mean, same thing with real estate investing from any perspective. That's why people don't go out and buy a single family rental. And I tell everybody, I'm more comfortable buying houses and real estate than I am cars, just because the vehicle is an unknown to me. But a house or a property, Something goes wrong, I know how to fix it or know the people to fix it. So I'm not worried about it. A car, I know the people to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it. So
Me and you
it's
both, brother.
so we're in the same thing with senior living, retirement homes, things along those lines. It's just another asset class uh, to become an expert in it.
And I think, yeah, we're on the same page, right? Like I got super excited about that because yeah, anything that you and I put our minds to become experts, part of the fun is the journey of becoming an expert, right? But also knowing the outcome to what
Right.
you've just said, right? Like knowing it's like, man, this is something that scares a lot of people away. And what do we know? When something is scary, something is like, oh, I just don't want to deal with that. There is money to be made. And I mean, because of regulations, because of the laws and things of that nature, this is an asset class that a lot of people do shy away from, and especially because I mean we've seen this with our banks as well, right? Which is super interesting because of COVID. One little once in a many lifetime crazy thing that took place, right? Everyone then is like, oh, it's scary. We shouldn't get into that. I mean, like, using the bank example, we have banks that when we're talking about, hotel and motel conversions to multifamily, they're like, listen, we need to have it zoned specifically for R2. It needs to be signed off before even closing, because if it's anywhere in that, personal care type of space or any type of hospitality, right? Because obviously hotels and motels got hit hard as well. We don't want any part of it. And it's like, well, wait a second, that the need didn't go away.
Right.
Yes, you had a great, I mean, goodness gracious, I pray that our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren never have to experience a pandemic, right? Like, I pray that that does not take place. But it was a once in a generation type of event. And now, when you and I are starting to peel back those numbers, right? And you hear terms like the silver tsunami, right? Like the baby boomers coming all turning age 65. And actually, I think that the stat that we were looking at, it was like all baby boomers will be 65 by what was it,
2030.
2030. That's
Yep.
crazy to me, right? Like the only generation that is larger than the baby boomers are the millennials. I mean,
Right.
it's a massive generation, and they're all going to need a place to live, right? Like it's just a fact of life.
Right.
And there's a major problem right now. There's a major backlog with senior living, whether it be independent living, whether it be personal care, asset or assisted living. There's a need across the board. There's just not enough affordable houses that are out there, and this is massive for us. Like I'm super excited, brother.
Absolutely. And like you said, so the baby boomers are the ones born between 1946 and 1964.
Mhm.
That's huge. I mean, we've been hearing about it for 20 years. I
That's
would
right.
say 20 plus years. So at that time, if they're going to be 65 by 2030, we would have been hearing about it since they were in their 30s, 40s, whenever we were kids. And
We
you got to
got
put it in
old all of
perspective.
a sudden. Like, when did
Yeah.
we get old?
Right. So it's like you've been hearing about this for a long time, and then being in real estate, you look out there, and there's not a lot of affordable housing. Whenever you look from just even ranch style housing, that people at retirement want to say, "Hey, I want to downsize to a ranch and be all one floor level houses." Those are the houses that go within a couple days, if not a day, are the price right ranch level houses,
That's right.
because they're all getting ready for that part of their life. Then beyond that is where you come into the personal care, independent care, um, retirement homes. So it's all the stepping stone. And like I said, the real estate, since I've been doing real estate for almost 15 years, being an agent, those are the houses that it's like everybody says, "Hey, I need to find a ranch house," and I'm like, "All right, we're gonna be looking. This isn't gonna happen overnight because they come and go so quick." And it's all part of that trend and the baby boomers where everything's going.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, this is one where, once again, it's not that it is easy, right? There are, learning something new is hard. And I absolutely love that. because it really just comes down to anything else as it relates to when we look at the investments. First, you have to understand the need, right? You have to understand little facts like, hey, there's 76 million baby boomers and 10,000 of them turn 65 every single day at this point, and that's going to go into the 2030s. That's insane to me, right? Like there is a need, and then you start breaking it down just like we do for multifamily, right? Like, all right, Pennsylvania, where we're at, what is that from a state perspective? Let's get granular. Some of the areas that we're looking at, like what is the need there? I know that you and I, we've started calling very specific areas of aging, different, in different counties, right? And just finding out, hey, what's the need here? And the recurring theme that we're hearing is, oh my goodness, it's crazy. There is such a need right now. We don't have enough personal care homes. There's not enough doors. There's not enough just buildings in existence to be able to support the need that is there. And I love when there is a passionate response to us asking about a need. Because a lot of times, like when we're talking multifamily, we're going through the same checklist and talking in different areas, you'll get, yeah, I mean, we have a need for sure, right? There's a housing shortage, like, but you never have passion behind
Right.
that a lot of times, right? Like it's speculation, like, hey, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. I know that there's a need, but I probably should know a little bit more in the position that I'm in, right?
Right. Right.
But when we're calling these places, specifically from a senior living perspective
Mhm.
and asking, these managers, these directors, et cetera, hey, what's it like in your county? Like you're getting this passionate response where they're wanting to even, stand up their own personal care homes. It's like, hey, I don't know how to do it, so I won't, but I really wish we could. And
Absolutely.
that to me is like, man, that gets me fired up, brother, because that is something where money can be made, but also in a way where you're actually providing an impact for the communities as well. Like this is something that is helping our parents, our grandparents, etc. Like it's fantastic.
And like you said, it's been our mission since the start of offering affordable housing. With our 17 unit, it was all one level. That was one of the things that drove us that direction. They were efficiency apartments on one level. So that's again over what, 2.5 years now of
Yeah.
just that property alone. It was, we looked at that, we're like, hey, handicap accessible people can live here, a regular uh, healthy person can live here. It's adaptable to everybody. So it's always been what we've looked for is just accessible. It opens up your pool of renters, tenants, everything. Like an apartment, a 5-story apartment with no elevator. You only have a certain amount of people who can live there, so it takes your renter pool down. So it's been in line with everything we've done, and whenever you peel it back, is doing the research and learning about it. Like you said, it's what steers other people away from this. It's the same thing with the stock market, cryptocurrency. I mean, we all know that's pretty much the future here, but the people don't want to do the research to figure it out, so they just don't do it. And they miss out on Bitcoin being under a penny, and the different things of where the market
Now
just
100,000, like holy cow.
exactly, it just scares people away of not doing the research or learning things on their own or becoming an expert. This is the same thing in line. That's what steers people away. Is it just it it, it sounds overwhelming, I guess you could say.
That's right. And in some aspects, right, if it's unfamiliar territory, it could be. I mean,
Yep.
let's take independent living as an example, because like that is multifamily on steroids. Like
Right.
instead of just offering a place for somebody to live, now you're talking about the need to have an event coordinator, right? Like,
Right.
someone to actually make it so that it is a true community. Not
Mhm.
just that though, they're wanting housekeeping. They're wanting lots of items that you're not thinking about ever for a traditional multifamily apartment complex. There's
Right.
some little facets and so much overhead, right? That has to make the math equation just right that a lot of people are like, oh, that's too much. And then
Right.
when you start talking about coupling that in with personal care and assisted living, then they're just like, oh, now we're talking about registered nurses, personal care workers, making sure that you have certifications, working outside of the normal permits that you're having to get. Now you're talking about working with the county and the state for additional, like it is a lot. But
Right.
once you know what to do, is it really? Right? Like
Right.
it's yeah, it's one of those things where man, I love it that it is scary to keep most people away so that we can have a lot of profitability for our investors.
Absolutely, and it's things aren't moving too quickly in there, so it's good portion to do that. And I think you touched on it. There's different types of senior living options as well.
Mhm.
There's the independent living, there's the assisted living, and there's the personal care side of things. So there's different asset classes within that require different types of care.
Yeah, and when you like, going back to the industry titan, Mr. Vinny Chopra, right? Like I know that he tries to look for the larger needs as well, where there are there are plenty of seniors who want to be able to say, listen, I want to stay in one place, right? I don't want to be kicked around or whatever. I want a home. I want a community. But they're also from an amenity perspective saying, listen, hey, right now I'm independent. I don't want to have to, I don't need anyone to take care of me. I can bathe myself. I can do everything myself. Like, hey, I can even cook my own meals, but I would like the option to be able to have meals provided for me. Right. But then they're like, hey, I know that maybe in 5, 6, 7 years, things could change. And I want to be able to have the ability to have additional care if and when it's needed. And not even if, but when it is needed. Right. And
Absolutely.
and then, as we know, everybody, it's crazy. Like in the 1950s, what would the average life expectancy, I think, was like around 65, right? Like when we're talking about like ages, right? Retirement age was kind of like the average life expectancy in the 50s.
Yep.
Now it's 75. And we're hearing all kinds of crazy numbers like, hey, hang around for another 5 years and the average life expectancy is going to be around 100, right? Just because of how crazy our advances are happening. And what does that mean for senior care then? I mean, that just means that they need extended options and it doesn't decrease, it increases the need for senior living.
Right. Yeah. It like you said, it really breaks it down to it's offering almost like an all-inclusive resort amenities for your everyday living. It's like living at a at a resort because you have everything. Like you said, you can cook your own meals if you want, if that's at the stage you're at, or you can have the meal plans, you can have the entertainment, um, things to keep busy, have the socialization, and then unfortunately, if things worsen over time, then you're set up in place to be able to do that, and then you're not in a new environment. You're just adapting a little bit, rather than being uprooted to go somewhere else after you moved in there as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, like it hits a little close to home for me as well. Like, as you know, I just lost my dad. And it's like, had we been investing in this asset class a little bit sooner, how much easier would it have been to be able to provide that for a family, right? To be able to
Right,
say, hey, listen, right now, you need this care. He had a lot of different things going on, but to be able to take him through stages of, hey, right now he needs a little bit extra, right? Like he needs
right,
personal care. But now it's like, hey, from an assisted living perspective, like he needs a lot of help, but to be
right,
able to have that in a way that was affordable, but then also to have a facility that you're proud of, because
right.
we have toured some scary places. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Like we had that one investment that still comes back up because that building's abandoned now. But do you
Oh
remember
yeah.
the elderly people that were in that one place that we were just like, man, I want to just save them. It's like it was what you envisioned like from an 80s, 1980s type personal care home, 70s, 80s, where they're just all in there. It just has that smell about it, right? Like it's like no
Yep.
one's looking like they're having fun. They're watching a game show. There's nothing else for them to do.
Right.
And that's another thing that I get excited about because it's like, man, you and I can knock this out of the park, right? Like,
Yeah.
we just opened up that golf simulator business. Like, are we not going to have golf simulators in the personal care homes? Absolutely, right?
Right.
Someone who's coming in is like, hey, they don't change what they want to do, right? Like,
Right.
they may not be able to get to the golf course anymore, but why not be able to give them the ability to hit some balls in a golf simulator, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
all of those things. And when you talk about like, hey, let's make sure that there's a salon available,
Hmm.
little things like that. And but also like we were chatting the other day, and I'm like, why not a game room, right? Like a true game room, like poker tables and things like
Yeah.
that. where it's like, I promise you, when I get a little bit older, I'm going to want to play Texas Hold'em, right?
Yeah,
If you have me in a personal care, I still want to play some Texas Hold'em.
right.
Have a table there for us, right? And that's why we can really knock this out of the park, make it a real community, make it awesome,
Mhm.
make it like home for them. And I think that's another thing that's just going to differentiate us for sure.
Absolutely. And like you said, the one place I know, the blue building that we walked through, it just felt so bad for those people. And there was 3 people in a room, and there were empty rooms, so they could have had them spread out, but they just that was not the right way. And again, at that time, this was a little over 2 years ago, and like you said, we this conversation comes up all the time, and we're like, hey, should we revisit it? It's now closed and empty, um, but it still comes up, and it's like,
Thankfully.
yeah, we wanted to help those people, and at that time, it was just not in the cards. Um, but I'm glad we saw the one side of what a personal care facility can be, and then we've seen the other side of it, of the ones that are being ran very nicely, what they can be. Like you said, the mindsets. Think about yourself. When I still think about stuff that I did in my early 20s, that it's like I can do that, and then you go do it. Like, that's a little harder than what it was. So you still have the mindset of your younger self, and it's the same thing with these people that are in the homes. It's not that they have a whole different thinking. They still want to be able to do the golf, but they can't go out on the golf course. They want to play cards with people, but they just don't have the room set up in their current property or apartment, whatever it may be. So it's allowing them to adapt and still be able to have fun. I mean, they're still living. Like, that's the thing. It's independent living, personal care, whatever it may be. They just might need a little bit of assistance, but their mindset is still completely there, and they want those amenities.
Absolutely. And also, it's not just the comfort and peace of mind for the residents themselves. Obviously,
Mhm.
that's first and foremost, but then also, too, for the family members who are making a big decision to have, their mom, their dad, right, moving into one of these places. It's like, you want them to feel super comfortable about it as well. And, there's so many amenities and different, with technology today as well. It's like, hey, they want to make sure that somebody is, keeping, track to ensure that, hey, they didn't fall in an apartment by themselves and then nobody was there to help them, right? Like, there's technology that we can put in place to ensure that, like, little things like that, it's not like, it's not a big brother type of thing, but it pseudo is, as it relates to ensuring that they're staying safe, and
Right.
somebody always has an eye and is ensuring that they're okay. And
Absolutely.
having that for family members to be able to feel comfortable that say, wow, all right, they have a great place to live. It's clean, it's really nice. The cafeteria is not a cafeteria, right? It is a true dining experience.
Right.
That they feel comfortable from that perspective. The other amenities that make it feel like home and to give them a true community feel. I mean, all of that, those are all solvable, easily achievable items.
Mhm.
And all of that is part of a capital raise. Like, when we're evaluating a deal, we're going to be finding these deals that price per door allows us to put these amenities in place. And then in turn, it gives the investors a great return on their investment while they're actually, feeling great about their investment as well, because they're doing something for the community.
Exactly. And that's what it comes down to, is being proud of what you're doing and your investment and how you're helping. You're not just helping yourself, you're helping lots of people. You're not even just that individual, their families. Like you said, that it gives, so one person who's staying there might have a family of 20 or 30, that you're giving comfort to those people as well, that they're in a safe and fun and thriving environment. Like, if you keep them moving and keep their mind sharp, that keeps them around longer too. So it's your that one action of one tenant leads to the entire families and down the line. So it's very it goes a long way, rather than just feeling good yourself. It's helping a big branch.
Absolutely. So I know that we're going to have a lot of information moving forward on, what we're doing from a senior care perspective. But I would say, like, one thing that, we're talking about Vinny a lot as an example. I want to reach out to Vinny and see if we can get his thoughts on it. Would love to interview him and have him speak to a lot of his experiences.
Yep.
Right? Because I mean, he is next level crazy busy with everything that he's doing, and I absolutely love it. Right? Like it seems like he is building or constructing a new senior living facility every time we talk to him. Right?
Yeah.
Like you're doing another. That is amazing, right? On top of the hotels and everything else that he's doing. So he's going to have a wealth of knowledge. I would love to interview him here. And the one thing as well, I think it'll be good for our audience just to kind of go through some of the fundamental, we'll say real estate syndication type of items as well as it relates to this, and to be able to hammer around, hey, is there anything different, right? Because we've talked about multifamily before, and hit on that as far as it relates to the benefits from an investor perspective, talking about depreciation, talking about the different types of returns that they receive, et cetera, and what those different metrics are. But would love to have a focused session for us to even break down, because I mean they're very much the same, right?
Mhm.
But I would love to just call out specifically for our investors, hey, what does that look like from a senior living perspective? Has anything changed? Is there anything else? Self-directed IRAs, are there any issues with investing in a syndication that invests in a personal care home, as an example?
Mhm.
Like let's make it a point to have that as well in one of the further episodes, just so we can break that down. We can probably parlay that with a Vinny Chopra interview, actually. So a lot of that
That's
stuff,
a great idea.
take that back. We'll have it come right from Vinny's mouth.
Yep. And that's a great idea.
So I'm trying to think here. Was there anything else that we really wanted to cover before we wrapped it up? I mean, because there's so much. I know that, really just want to touch on the fact that, we are going to be investing a lot of our time in senior living. I know that there's some good stuff right around the corner that, is going to be coming under contract as well. But is there anything else that you want to touch on that was top of mind?
No, I think we can pick that up in another one. I think that's a great segue of kind of where we've been over some time. We're not sitting idle. We're out there learning more of the market, what are happening in other countries, what are other investors doing here in the States. Let people just nice update of where we've been, what we're doing, and keep it going.
Good deal. And I think too, just because it would warrant a specific episode, it's not syndication specific, right? But I think it would be good for us to even just run through the numbers of what it looks like for a golf simulator business at some point.
Yeah.
Because once again, I mean, that's such a win story, right? To be able to fully fund a top of the line golf simulator. We're using Trackman simulators in this place to really run through the numbers. What does that mean? And because who knows, maybe we can offshoot that also into syndication type deals moving forward.
Absolutely. And if that people are on there, go on to 19thgreen.com. It's 19thgreen.com and take a look at it yourself. See how that turned out, how well it is. Right in a vacation destination for the winter, summer, all year round. So yeah, take a look at it.
Awesome. Well, good deal. Well, hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate you as always. And for everyone watching in, as always, stay invested and stay informed. Until next time, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
If you would like to connect, please head on over to MRTGcapital.com and request time to meet with us to answer any questions you may have about real estate investing through a syndication. We partner with small groups of investors just like you, and we're always reviewing deals that could be of interest to you.